Okay, while you guys are creating accounts, verifying your emails, and doing all the fun admin stuff to get to the lab, I'm going to go ahead and get started just with some basic introductions. Erin, will you go to the slide? My wonderful lab assistant is helping me with some slides and some moderating this session with some questions and lab access help. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Okay, so I'm Bri Andersen. I am the curriculum manager for Pluralsight. I work day in and day out on creating information and cybersecurity curriculum to train and involve the community. We're involved in training. We get to come to fun events like these and really boast skilling up and upskilling and learning cybersecurity. This is my coworker Aaron Rosenmund. Like I mentioned, he is like most of the brains behind these lab environments. So was really grateful for him to come and help me moderate this session. So thank you.
Happy to be here.
We go to the next. Okay, so here is my mandatory overview slide. A few years back, I made Aaron add one of these to his talks, and he has never let me live it down or forget about it since. So of course, I got to grab the chance to, give him a little elbow jab back. So this is kind of what we're going to be going through during the workshop today. The first few minutes we'll take to get through the lab access together. We're going to start with the first lab that's going to be Nmap. We're going to go through doing some network enumeration. We're going to discover some vulnerabilities and maybe possibly, it'll be a secret, exploit some of those. We're going to hit the Metasploit lab will be our second half of this workshop. We're going to do more enumeration and discovery, and we're going to do even more exploitation and access. Okay, so let's all kind of get on the same page as you guys are creating your accounts, spinning up the environment. Once you get there, go ahead and click Start Lab. It's going to take about 3 minutes for that lab to spin up, and you'll see this green bar roll across the top that says your environment has successfully loaded, and this Open Environment button will turn blue. As you guys are kind of working through that, ask questions, let me know, give me some thumbs up when you get there, please. I know it's going to take a few minutes.
I'm really excited about this poll functionality, so I dropped another poll in there. When you do have the Nmap up, you can just go say yes, I'm good.
Aaron really likes polls, you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, this is fun.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to be going pretty fast. There's a lot of content we did, Kelly, thank you. There's a lot of content to cover. I'm going to be going pretty fast. So in that GitHub, all the commands that I'm going to be using is there for you to copy and paste into the lab environment, kind of a cheat sheet to kind of get us through this faster. In the official lab that you'll get access to, there are a lot more verbose instructions. They'll be going through like screenshots with like call outs and very like detailed analyses of every output and stuff like that goes into a much deeper level of understanding. I would highly suggest you guys run through that after this workshop. If you're like, oh, that was cool, I want to do that again. We also have a few other labs available for you to do that as well. Yes, Melissa. So the GitHub will give the commands, the app to create your account for Pluralsight, and then the tutor environment. We'll be working in the tutor environment and the GitHub commands, and I'll kind of be walking you through that. You don't really, like I said, though the lab instructions are a little bit more verbose. So once you get your actual Nmap console up, we'll be mostly working in that one. Yes.
I was just going to say, once it spins up, you can hide those instructions too.
Yep. Also, Iona, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if it's not. The materials will be up until at least the end of the week, if not longer. Not until next week, maybe. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to give it 1 more minute. Can I get some thumbs up if you guys are with me?
We have.
Oh, I can't see the responses in the poll.
On the poll, you have to answer the poll first, and then you can see the responses.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. You have to be part of the solution. If it's spinning up,
not part of the problem. Oh, come on. Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like someone is saying that they need help. Does anyone need help? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Aaron, would you mind going to the one next from this so we can start? Okay, perfect. We are going to simulate a scenario as if we are coming to an environment as a pen tester. We have this network. We're not quite sure what it looks like, what devices are on, what connections, what's running. We do know we have these 3 subnets. These 3 subnets are what we're going to kind of dive into, see what hosts are live, and see what we can find and actually evaluate. Okay, so Aaron, will you stop? I'm going to go ahead and move to my Nmap console. Thank you. Okay, can everyone see my screen, and is the text too small to follow along? Do I need to zoom in? Yes, I see Aaron nodding. Okay. Well, that was not pleasant. Okay.
Yeah, or my eyes are terrible was the other option. Yeah.
Did that even zoom or not really?
No, it didn't.
It did not. It's just doing a really fun.
Yeah, you changed. So they changed the font size, and this is for everybody else too. Yeah, Control Shift Alt.
Okay, so if you are in our lab environment, go over a few things on that. If you are on a Windows box, you will be Control Alt Shift. If you are in Mac, you'll be Control Shift Command, and that pops up this lovely menu where you can change your display, you can change your font size. Let's see. Is that enough, or do we want it bigger? One more bigger, probably. Yes? Is everyone able to see that now?
That's good. Okay,
great. I'm going to go forward. Okay, we are going to go ahead and set up 2 instances of our console using screen. Again, please follow along with me using the commands or type them out, whatever you prefer. We're going to create one screen called Nmap, one called Tcp Dump. Now, if you've never used screen before, you can do a few things here. I just created 2. One is labeled 0, one is labeled 1. You can hit Control A and then let go, and then hit quotes, like double quotes. And then you'll be able to navigate through which one you want, 0 or 1. Or you can do Control A, let go 0, Control A, let go 1. And that moves you back and forth to be able to see 2 tools running at once. Okay, let's go ahead and move to challenge 2. We are going to cap this subnet targets file. So these are the 3 subnets that I showed you in that network diagram. We removed the first few IPs just for some oddities of this lab environment, but we have a .37, .64, and .128 subnet. Okay, we're going to be doing some discovery in all these subnets. We're going to be looking for live hosts open ports on those hosts and what services they're running. We're then going to use that information to search for vulnerabilities that might successfully give us access. Meanwhile, we're going to be running TCP dump in the background of some of these scans. And that way we can like monitor our network traffic, and it gives us a good idea if our traffic is being seen and if we're being sneaky or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to so Control A1 gets us to the TCP dump window. We're going to go ahead and start the first scan for TCP dump. Okay, that's running, listening. Go ahead and hit Control A0. And this is our Nmap screen. We're going to perform a SYN scan using Nmap for those subnet targets and see what hosts we can discover. Now, I'm not going to go through every flag during this workshop just for the sake of time, but in the lab instructions, when you dive deeper, those are in there if you have not used Nmap often or a lot, and that will give you a deeper explanation. So this is running. You'll start to see warnings. That's just because we set the max retries to 0, just due to the sake of time for Nmap scans. So while this is running, go ahead and hit Control A and then 1 over to TCP dump. And you can see the packets that were captured. You can see the SYN flag that's been hit. You can see the IPs, where it's coming from, what we're hitting, and some packet information here. Go ahead and hit Control A and 0, back to Nmap, and we'll let that finish scanning. It's a nice long scan for those that still need to wait for the lab to connect. So. Okay, the scan just finished running. Let's go ahead and we're going to look at those results, and then we're gonna, so what it first is showing is that all 747 hosts are up. If you're questioning that, you're right. What Nmap is showing is anything that it's seeing as a host that has no reason, it's showing it as up, which isn't accurate. What we're actually looking for is any response that came back with a TTL value, which is time to live. That will show us that the host is actually like up and responding and giving us either a SYNAC or a different type of response. So go ahead and grep for TTL. Okay. So these show us 4 different IP addresses on that 37.183, 37.182, 37.195. There's the other one. And 64.30. Yours will be different than mine. That's how this lab works. It chooses different IP addresses. So please, the most important part of doing a pen test or some kind of engagement like this is to take notes. This is a great time to take notes. Write down those 4 different IPs. Those are going to be the targets that we use throughout this workshop. Okay. Next, we're going to go and use these 4 targets to see what ports we can find as open. So screen, capital X, and quit. We'll close our old instances of screen, and we're going to use new ones. And create a new one of Nmap. And now we're going to use snort to run this time. Okay, so go ahead and move to challenge 3. And we're going to cat this host targets file. Now, again, your 4 are going to be different than mine, but these 4 IP targets, these are targets. So if you didn't like actually write them down, you can pull out this file if that is on the lab if you need them to help you remember. Okay, we should be in Control A1, should be snort. We want to be in the snort window. And we're going to go ahead and run a fresh instance of snort. We're going to use Nmap's OS detection to try to figure out what operating system is being ran on these IP targets. But it's usually caught by IDS and IPSs. So I want to show you how that works. Okay, initialization complete. It shows snort is running. Go ahead and hit Control A and 0 to get to our Nmap screen. We're going to run the OS detection scan. Okay, while that's running, go ahead and switch over to snort. So look, boom, it caught us. Like it caught all the Nmap scans. It sees exactly what we're running. That's not quite what we wanted to do. We want to try to be a little bit sneaky and evade some detection. So let's go ahead and hit Control C and close snort here. We're going to run a new instance. You can just arrow up to run the same command that you ran before and start a new installation, a fresh install of snort. Moving over to Nmap, this gave us some information on each IP as far as what operating systems, but it does say like not exact OS matches. So let's go ahead and try to run a different type of scan and try to evade detections this time. Okay, while this is running, go ahead and move over to the snort window and nothing. It's still sitting there as if it was initialized and nothing has been hit. So that's exactly what we want to see. We want to try to evade those detections. Oh, Aaron, a forsty Bri.
Did I really?
Yeah.
You can't edit that. That's for posterity.
Okay. So the Nmap scan finished running. Let's go through each one of these together. So we have the first IP address, 172.31.37.82, and we are showing the state of port 22 and 80 open. It is showing us some services, but we're going to do a deeper dive into that to see exactly what's running there. For 3783, we're seeing 22 is open and 8080 is open. Again, it is giving us a service. So these are all great notes to write down. Just due to length of time, we do have those saved for you in the next challenge. The next IP address, we're seeing port 22 open as well as 3306. So that's it. It's showing us a MySQL server. So that's interesting, something to like kind of start getting in your mind of what services are running, what ports, what could possibly this subnet be. The last one on this 64 subnet is port 22 is showing as open, as well as 14.33 and 3389. So a few Windows services happening here. So keep that in mind as well. Now we want to obviously take notes. Our host identification is complete. Okay, so now I want to take a look at where we are. You guys have it in the GitHub. I'm not going to have you share it, Erin. It's fine. It's in the GitHub. But if you want to look at this second network diagram, we have our IP addresses filled out. We have what open ports, and there's a few things to take note here. So what ports are running on the first subnet? We have 22 and 80, 22, 80, 80, 22 and 3306. Those all seem like web services, so start to keep that in mind. This 64 subnet has a few other different Windows services, and all of the hosts responded with a TTL of 64. Okay, let's go ahead and move to challenge 4. We can cap this port targets file, and that shows us again all of our IPs and what ports we found. Okay, now we want to actually dive deeper, as I mentioned, and we want to try to see what service and what version of that service is running. So we're going to do some service detection scans on each IP address. No, I didn't want that. Don't do that. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and implement the information that we have. The ports for your instance should be the same. So 22 and 80 is our first one. Your IP address will be different. These ones are pretty quick. Okay, here we go. So we have, for 22, the SSH service, we have OpenSSH running. For port 80, for HTTP, we have an Apache service running. Let's go ahead and move on to IP address 2. I remember that IP address. We could probably cap that again. Oh, it's 83. Okay. So port 8080, 22 and 8080. And the last octet of your second IP address. Okay, this one again shows the same OpenSSH service as well as Apache Tomcat. So again, kind of verifying our suspicions that this subnet seems to be a web server or hosting some web services. Let's go ahead and do the third IP address, which is a 3306 port. And I don't remember my IP. So that's kind of nice there to have right in front of your face if you need to rerun your port targets file. Have your IP addresses in front of you. Okay. This one returned again, 22 SSH, OpenSSH, the same service as the others. And for 3306, we're showing a MySQL database. Going to go ahead and run the port targets file one more time so we can run that fourth IP address. The ports on the fourth one came back as 22, 1433, 3389, and 5985. And we're going to update this IP. This one takes a little bit longer to run. Okay, while this last scan is running, it takes a little bit longer. We still have our snort instance running. So let's not forget, we're still trying to evade being detected. Go ahead and hit Control A and 1 and nothing. So all these service detection scans ran in the background and was not caught by the standard snort rules. Now that's not to say like custom snort rules that are written won't catch you, but standard rules will not. See if that Nmap scan, almost there.
I was asking Bri why she thinks this one takes longer.
Me? You're asking me?
Yeah, why does it take longer?
Because we're hitting more ports.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, my cat is coming. She decided she wanted to join the party. Come on. Yeah, you're obnoxious. It usually doesn't take this long though, Aaron.
Press the spacebar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's 50% done.
There we go. Just need to kick it a little.
There you go. Yeah, make it report to you.
Oh, interesting. The fingerprinting didn't come up. Okay, so we did get these services to come back. Again, we have 22 OpenSSH. We have some Windows services coming back. However, the TTL is 64. Does anybody know? Does anybody know, excuse me, why that's suspicious? Can anyone give me a guess as to like what are we seeing here? This is, what is the difference between a TTL response for Linux versus Windows? No, Aaron, you're not allowed to answer. Okay, the TTL response for Linux is 64. For Windows, it's 128. So that's why this is very, very suspicious and not common. This is something you would definitely want to dig in. You want to like do some very cautious tiptoeing around to dig in further. It didn't show up for this particular scan, but if you look in the GitHub, it does have fingerprinting services that you can dive deeper into. Let me... Yeah, and so there's very like micro SQL services.
Yeah, mine popped up if you want me to show it real quick.
What?
Mine popped up if you want me to show it real quick.
Oh, it did?
There you go.
Yep. So you have to like get in real closely, but there are some very odd. Yeah, I think I have mine at 18. Yeah, there you go. So we have an RDP service, we have a WinRM service, and these service names are very suspicious. 10 points for you if you know where they come from, but they are suspicious services, fake services coming from what we're calling a Windows services with a TTL of 64. So this is a honeypot. This is something that we want to avoid in a pen test. We don't want to hit this. So we'll definitely like get you caught. Okay, Aaron, switch me. All right. Okay, so we want to take a big X and X through that IP address. We want to remove that honeypot IP address from our target list. We don't want to get anywhere near that thing. It's a trap. Okay, so we have 3 IPs with services that might be vulnerable. So we have SSH, we have HTTP, Apache, and MySQL. So we can run some Nmap scripts on each to find out which are vulnerable. So I'm gonna spoil the surprise for you guys a little bit just due to the sake of time and tell you that it's the MySQL database that's gonna be the vulnerable service here. So let's go ahead and dive into that a little bit. So let's go ahead and close our instances of screen and move into challenge 5. At the service targets file. Okay, those are our 3 remaining IP addresses and what ports and services are running on those that we want to look into. Okay, so now further we have NSE or Nmap scripts that will help us look for different vulnerabilities on these services. So I want to look into the MySQL service, and we'll go ahead and see what they offer. So go ahead and wrong window. Where am I? Did I lose my place? Yeah. So sudo nmap script equals MySQL. Wildcard will show us all the scripts related to MySQL. Okay, so we have a couple here. We have default discovery MySQL info, and it gives you the categories as to what they are and if they're safe or if they're considered intrusive. So this one will just give you information about the database. This one will allow you to query, right? And this one is also considered safe. And then we have these few down here that get into a little bit more intrusive, find specific credentials, look for vulnerabilities, and bypass authentication. So we're going to go ahead and start with the safe scripts first. So I'm going to cat those service targets again because I don't remember what my MySQL IP was. Copy this MySQL and safe command and pop in the IP address. Okay, that ran pretty quickly. It did show us that we were able to connect to that database. We do have a successful connection. So we want to check out some of the info, look at it. It shows us the capabilities of what it can do, gives us just some information, the salt for the password. Okay, so we do have a successful connection. That means it's probably time to be risky and do a little bit more of an intrusive scan here. I'm going to copy the next command down and put in the IP address. What was it? 195. Okay, this gave a pretty long output, so I'm going to go ahead and, nope, not that one. That was not what I wanted. Sorry. go ahead and look at the results and pipe it to more so you can see that slowly and go through each one a little bit more in depth. Okay. Does anyone see it? Anyone see what we want? Boom, right here. It went through using the intrusive scan, was probably noisy and we likely got detected, but we definitely found valid credentials. So even if we were detected, we just got credentials to access the database. That's exactly what we want here. That's a huge find. It also, you can go through all of these. It also shows us the different databases within here, the different usernames, what's valid, what's not, the protocol version. What's really great is you can go through and see if we have any vulnerable versions. Okay, so I'm gonna go through here. Now I want to actually try, we have connections, successful connections, we have full credentials. Let's actually see if we can access this thing. So we'll do sudo mysql. The username as admin. The password is admin. Is that what I wanted? Let's try again. Oh no. Admin. Oh, I need to put in the IP address.
Yeah, it just
didn't.
didn't.
What did I do?
Yeah.
There we go. Let's try again. There we go. I'm sorry. Okay, we're in. It actually gave us a MySQL prompt, and you can hit. And you can actually get into the Portal Gun database. So you're in, you want to take screenshots, take notes, show results, write your process down for your customer or client to show the vulnerabilities and the process that you use, the path you use to get here, show the impact of why this is a problem. Okay. Now we can go ahead and close the Nmap lab. The next thing we want to browse to is this right here. Exploitation with Metasploit. We want to go, that's the next lab we're going to be using. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to let that spin up. And everyone give me some thumbs up or, you know, one of Aaron's polls when you have that up and going.
Okay, the poll's live, everybody. I know you've been waiting on it.
The polls are live.
Ready to go. Yeah. Did you want to do a recap? Did you want to do your recap slide?
That's it. That's after Metasploit.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Don't forget you have to end your lab.
Oh, yeah. It will, once you try to start the Metasploit lab, it will ask if you want to end the last one. You can only have one lab open at a time. So you just click end lab and then start Metasploit and you guys should be good. As you guys have access to these labs now, they are a closed environment. Feel free to break outside of what our guided instructions tell you to do. Try different Metasploit commands, try different Nmap scans. it's a cool environment for you guys to just go ahead and poke around and break things because you can't hurt anything. Okay, mine just successfully loaded. So we'll give another minute or two for everyone else's.
Okay, we have someone who said they need help, but I did put in parentheses beside I need help. It means you have to speak up. So
go ahead and put it in the chat. Someone else might be having your same issue.
Yeah.
Whoever needs help. Or if you want to come on camera, you're welcome to do that too.
Yeah. Or if it was a general need help, but it's unrelated to this workshop, we can talk about it afterwards.
Oh, cool. I can share and you can share at the same time. What? That's exciting.
Oh, yeah. Just use up one of the slots. See the 4 out of 20? That's cool.
Yeah. Look at us go. Figuring this out halfway through. High five.
The meta. Gotcha. 1 second. Try that and see if it works. If not, I'll go grab a different link.
Oh, yeah. General chat.
No worries.
We've done that a few times. I'm like, I'm in event, but it's a great platform to be able to see what's going on through the full event and your individual session, but can definitely get confusing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go forward with Metasploit. Someone stop me if they want me to pause. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and... Okay, so using Nmap in the last lab, we discovered target IPs with open ports, detected which services were running, and then even exploited one of those vulnerable services. So next we're going to use Metasploit. So that one in particular was the MySQL target IP. So we're going to use Metasploit to exploit more of those targets that we found. To start, Metasploit, type Msf console. I can type. It's asked you if you want to use and set up a new database, type in yes. If you would like to use the init web service, go ahead and type in yes. When it asks you for username, hit enter, and password, hit enter. That seems like it's taking its sweet time. Hi, Kim. this lab going to give me some issues today? Did you get yours to go, Aaron? Did you get your MSF console come up?
I'm working on it now. You can Control C out and just MSF console again. See if it works for you.
Oh, I just want to make sure I didn't get
Yep, exactly.
Disconnected from Guacamole. There we go. Let's try again. Metasploit, Melissa. There we go.
There you go. We just can't give you the like T3 extra large one. That's all. You know, you gotta wait for the T2 micro to work.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and create a workspace. Work in. We're gonna call it Day of Security Lab, not Pluralsight Lab, because we are here for Day of Security. Day of Security Lab. Okay, and then we want to import the results that we pulled from Nmap, from the last lab. Great, so that pulled in all of our information to check. You can type in hosts, and that gives us a list of all the hosts on the subnets that we've scanned, and then we can type services to see what else. So this is on the 37 subnet, and it shows one IP that has 2 ports open. So that's the IP that we're going to be using here going forward with Metasploit. Okay, we want to globally set our hosts to with this target with the open port of 80. Okay, and that just makes it easier. So like every scan or every exploit we use, we don't have to like set our hosts every time. Okay, so what do we know so far about this particular target? We know it has port 80 open. It's HTTP. It likely has a web service running, and so we need to validate that. So the way we can do that is to request the HTTP headers. Do search. Larry. I'm so good at spelling. There we go. Great. Now we found the one we're looking for. It's this HTTP header. Now you can either type use and type the whole thing out, or you can type use 5. I'm going to be lazy and type use 5. And you can see my command prompt changes to use that particular module for Metasploit. So let's go ahead and look and see what this does. We can hit info. Okay, so it shows HTTP headers returned by the scan systems. It shows us our options. So everything that is required, we have populated as a field in here. So let's go ahead and type run. Okay, the green pluses are a good positive thing. That's what we want to see. Those are the positive responses. So 3 headers were returned. We see content type, the location with the folder directory, and the server. So now we want to use a crawler to follow this particular link and look for more resources. Okay, let's try this again.
We do have someone who can't hear. I'm not sure if it's just a them issue. I did, have them click the 3 buttons, but I just want to make sure other people can hear, which I'm assuming they can since we've seen responses. Yeah, okay, cool, thanks.
Okay, so we're still in here. So that the point of like creating that workspace is like, so if anything happens and you do get disconnected from Metasploit, you can jump back in and go back into your workspace and like everything is still the same. Thank you for all of your guys' help in troubleshooting the audio issue, by the way. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump back into where we were. Let's go ahead and search for crawler. And we are going to use 0. This is the one we want. Make sure it worked by changing our command prompt. Go ahead and type options. We need to globally set the R hosts again since I got disconnected. Let's do that. Okay, there we go. Options, R host is in there. Now we're good to go ahead and type run. Oh, dang it. Okay, let's just watch this while it's running because normally you can spool and turn it off and look through those results. But if you look through all these, we're seeing WordPress login, WP login, WP admin. Looking through all of these, this is clearly like a WordPress application on this server. You can look at the 200 responses, which means that it's showing a successful connection. Okay, so when this finishes running, there we go. There we go, completed. Okay, so as we mentioned, this is clearly a WordPress site. We want to find the login information, right? So let's go ahead and search to see if Metasploit has a module for that. Okay. So like one of the easiest things I think we all know and have heard of weak passwords to like administrative logins or anything is going to be the low-hanging fruit of pen testing. That's one of the first places we want to start and one of the first things we want to check. So we're going to go ahead and enumerate the WordPress login page for weak passwords. Check the options here. Okay, this gives you an option to put in a password file and a username file right here. And we have those for you in this lab. You can use any password file that you can find on GitHub. So let's go ahead and set pass. User file. Okay, let's make sure those. Okay, and then go ahead and type run. Our hosts, interesting. I'm going to set the R hosts to, it was 35, right? 55. Okay, go ahead and run this time. Okay, we got some green pluses, which is always a good thing. That's what we want to see. It shows a few admin or a few usernames and passwords came back as admin. Successful login for admin. admin, admin. So that's what we want to see. So that's great. So now that we know what our vulnerable application running is and we know the credentials, so it's time to look for an exploit to see if we can go ahead and get access to the server. Okay, so search for WordPress admin. We want to use this one right here. It's WordPress admin shell upload. Type options to see what it does. So we can put in the password, we can put in the username to authenticate with, and try to gain access. Okay, so let's go ahead and set the username to the credentials that we found. I'm going to set the R hosts again. 55 if you need to reset your R hosts. The last thing we want to set is this listening port. 4444 is pretty easily caught and detected. So let's go ahead and type in services to see what other services were returned on this host. So we have 80443 and 8080. I'm going to set mine to 8080 just to kind of blend some of that traffic in. Okay, now go ahead and type exploit. One exploit. Okay, watch closely what happens here. So it's starting a reverse TCP handler. It's authenticating, so it did authenticate using the credentials that we found. Now it's preparing the payload and uploading the payload, and we'll see what goes from there. Okay, it aborted due to failure. It said failed to upload the payload. So payload was created. It was there and it was prepared. It says it didn't upload. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper to see what happened. And this is a really good lesson of the mindset of pen testing. Is these modules for Metasploit are open source. They're written by who knows who. They're not always going to be perfect. Some of the red team or pen testing tools that we've used are not perfect, but it's figuring out a way or a workaround to kind of get successfully where you need to be. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit more to see about what happened when the exploit executed. Let's go ahead and type show advanced. This gives us a little bit of our advanced settings for Metasploit. I'm going to set verbose to true. And then run the same exploit again. I want to see if it gives us a little bit more information. Okay, so we're going to break down this response a little bit. The listener's set up. It's waiting for a callback, and then the authentication works. Now it's preparing this plugin upload. So it does give it a name and a name of the file. So more is going on than just a quick upload failure. So let's go ahead and run TCP dump in the background and see if we can get a little bit more information about what's happening during this upload failure process, so to speak. So we'll do screen TCP dump and create a second screen instance. Run TCP dump. Okay, so that's running in the background. Let's hit Control A and then D. So that detaches your screen and moves to your Metasploit instance. And we're going to run the exploit again. Oh, exploit with a T this time. Okay, let's go ahead and type screen tac R to reattach our screen. Type Control C to stop TCP dump. And then we're going to look at that PCAP. Okay, so this is pretty in-depth. This gives a lot of information about what's happening during that process. We want to scroll down to find the HTTP header. Let's see if I can get it first round. They pass it. It's hard to see. Here we go. Okay. So the WP HTTP referrer is right here. So this is where the plugin name, it gives it a name. Yours is going to be different than mine. It seems to be randomized character name each time. So I want to go down a little bit deeper, and I want to keep track of what that name is. Let's go up. No, I want to just that. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and just look through those results of TCP dump with just that plugin name.
You put a space between the TAC and the A. That's all.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So I see two happening right here. I want the full like PHP payload, right? So I'm seeing it saying like the same characters that we had / the same ones, or I'm seeing this right here. So I'm going to copy both of those down, and we're going to attempt to use both because that's the actual payload. Now I just need to upload it to the WordPress folder directory. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. Okay, so now we want to look to where this plugins are stored in the WordPress login folder structure. So I did a quick Google. You can see on the GitHub instructions what it actually looks like. It has WP-content and then plugins. So very simple Google search. We're not above Google searching in advanced pen test or even red teaming. So now we know how to construct the URL to access the payload. Okay, so here we can type exit to get back to our Metasploit command prompt. We're going to set up a listener. Our options. Set the L port to 8080 again. L host. We do want a reverse shell, so that's why I'm setting that payload. Okay, let's look at our options again. So we have everything set we needed. Go ahead and we're going to do run pack J, which runs, this is a background job, so we can continue to use our Metasploit command prompt. So that started. Go ahead and enter. It gives us our command prompt back. Now we're going to run curl to go ahead and retrieve that payload. And I'm going to use the text that I found in the TCP dump. Results. Okay, let's see if we can get this. There you go. Meterpreter session 1 opened. So that tells us we got a successful connection. So we now have a meterpreter shell. So you can hit Control C to get out of this and do sessions tac I, and that will show you whatever live sessions we have. So you can do sessions tac I and do the number 1. And there you go. We have a full meterpreter shell. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Again, access to the application that we're trying to get. So you can go ahead and play around here and see what access you can get to.
Woo!
Hey, we did it. So we have now exploited and gained the system in 2 different ways, just using Nmap and Metasploit. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. You guys can exit out of this, dive deeper into it, do some more Metasploit exploits, go for it. Aaron, will you go ahead and do the last slide? I'm like right at perfect timing. So I wanted to just kind of close up and summarize, kind of recap what we found. So we found 3 live targets with open ports, and all of them had vulnerable services. Like I said, in the lab with the instructions, there's a bit more verbose instructions. It's kind of a very quick recap. We found a honeypot that we were suspicious about and learned to avoid. We exploited and gained access to 2 different systems. We used the MySQL database and the WordPress application server, all while trying to be as sneaky as we could in evading defenses. So congratulations, hacker status achieved. You guys did it. Next, Aaron, there we go. And female hacker status achieved. You guys kicked ass. So I hope you were able to follow along with me or dive deeper and running through guided with more instruction in the lab environment. Please feel free to have access to those. So for more information, this is what we do in our day-to-day is teach guided instructions for different skills within cybersecurity. So we have a foundations path for our labs that we're building out, security event triage, incident response, pen test. We have quite a few really cool courses and paths that we built out. They're about 30-minute courses on different red team tools, everything from John the Ripper to Empire C2, really, really cool ones for red team and blue team that are all tied to MITRE ATT&CK and how they fit into a kill chain. So I think that's all I've got. That's mine and Aaron's Twitter accounts if you want to connect with us on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn as well, but would love to connect with you guys. Also, if anyone is interested in a 30-day free trial code, please message either of us. We also have some of our coworkers in the vendor booth in the Expo Center. Or if you want to, this was exciting and you want to learn how to build and teach these with us, we are looking for contract authors to help us teach some of this content. So does anybody, I think that's it, right? I'm done. Now, does anyone have any questions? How long will the labs and environments be available? I will say at least 1 week. So I will leave the GitHub instructions up, those commands up for you, because that's kind of a quick cheat sheet. But the lab environments, if you have a freemium account, will be available for the next week. So
there's a Q&A section too. No one's asked anything, but I am monitoring it, just trying to use all the features.
Yeah, don't let any rock go unturned. Is that the only one you haven't used, Aaron, is QA or Q&A, because you use polls and people and chat, and now you need to use Q&A? Okay.
There we go.
Okay. If someone wants to ask a question just for Aaron, to appease Aaron.
She did. It was great. How to get which window is displaying to show its name? Like with screen, is that what we're talking about?
I think that's what she's talking about. So it's because we have one console up and we wanted to use 2 different instances of that console. So use screen. There are instructions on how to use that in the lab instructions. Melissa, I think that's what you're asking. If you're asking something different, please let us know.
Yeah, and if you do the Control A, let go, and then Shift quotes, right?
That took us a minute to like figure out how to explain how to do that, because you can't say like Control A1 because you'll try to like hit it all the same. It's like Control A, let go 1, or Control A, let go 0. Yeah, that was very exciting to learn how to teach how to do that. So
yeah. You can select the one you're on, and then it should say at the bottom, hey, you're now in this window.
That's why I like generally go to Control A and then just quotes, double quotes, because then it gives you the menu especially if you have more than 2.
Yep.
Okay.
I can, if anyone, how much time do we have left?
I think we have 9 minutes. I went fast. I probably went too fast for you guys to follow along. I apologize.
I was just going to show this. It's that Linux desktop that hangs out. You can actually go log into the WordPress site and then go to plugins, and you'll see that even though the exploit failed originally, it actually was still uploaded the file, right? And this is like the visual representation of what you did.
What I did on command line.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, just want to point that out.
It's so tiny on your resolution on your desktop.
Oh, is it really?
That's a really unfortunate thing about having a nice, 300-inch wide monitor, because it looks great for you, but when you try to share, it's like very tiny.
Is that better? I don't think it is.
Melissa, is asking where to find out more about honeypots. We have content on that in what security event triage course? We have it. You wrote it.
On honeypots?
Uh-huh.
The analysis one? Oh, man. Yeah. You put me on the spot there.
I am sorry.
Yeah. The network behavioral analysis.
Yeah. Course. So if you go to security event triage, that has a path that talks about, gives you kind of a different categorization from SOC Analyst 1, SOC Analyst 2, SOC Analyst 3. It has a pretty in-depth scenario, and it'll walk you through the steps on how you can more about honeypots in there. Okay. I'm going to give it 2 more minutes to let anybody ask all the questions you want, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you 5 minutes back. Okay, great. Thank you again, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this gave you kind of a cool insight on Nmap, Metasploit, some pen testing skills, and our Pluralsight Labs platform.
There's one more. There's one more question. Yeah, I mean, while you got time, she's got you till the end.
Yeah, she's got me. Okay,
yeah.
We're here.
In general, how do okay, I'm gonna start over. Ready? Here you go.
We've had a long day.
In general, how do pen tests differ between web and mobile?
Oh, that's a good question. Web is a little bit more in depth, right? Because you have to I mean, you scan all of the different intricacies of the directories, and I've never done a mobile pen test. Aaron, have you?
Yeah, just a few times. It depends whether we're talking Mac OS or Android. Some of the technologies are similar because a lot of the mobile technology came off the backs of like web frameworks, right? However, they differ significantly in the like the surface. It's exactly what you were saying. It's like when you have to go do a web application pen test, you're hitting something that's exposed to the entire internet, so you have to go find all of its endpoints. There's behavior to the application that's because of the fact that it has to be open on the web to everybody, versus now I'm doing a mobile pen test on like an app. It's contained to this device. That ends up being more like binary testing, right? Yeah. Except you're binary testing mobile technologies like JavaScript and Java and stuff like that, but it's still contained within an application.
Yeah, different technologies, different operating systems, different ways to kind of approach that, I think. Yeah. Okay, Melissa, firing all the questions at us. Bring it on. You're still sharing, Aaron. I don't know if you want to share this Linux screen, or talk on mute. That works too.
Man, doing great today. I think that's really cool. I wanted to leave it up, but Christabel is asking, what are the best resources to learn pen testing? A solid softball for you there.
We have quite a bit of content on Pluralsight. We're building a hands-on path for labs. We're also we have a one now, like I said, we have about 50-something, 70-something courses around red team tools that talks about different tools that you can use as a pen tester and the different phases of a pen test that ties to MITRE ATT&CK. And they're short, kind of very digestible courses that are like 20 to 30 minutes. And some of those do have hands-on labs with them. And then we're building a whole entire path discussing pen testing all the way from network pen testing to web app pen testing. And that will be a really in-depth, deep dive of that skill. So we have it on Pluralsight. I've also used other resources. Aaron, cover your ears, such as try hack me, hack the box. I know, stop it. Also these kind of conferences and these kind of networking and different free trainings and workshops that I've been involved with just because of being involved in attending Day of Security. All of them are fantastic resources to learn. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't just use one resource, use a bunch. Christabel, message me. I will get you a 30-day code. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna also, for those that are still around, I'm gonna throw my LinkedIn in the chat. If you guys want to connect that way as well. I almost spelled your last name wrong. Okay. Thank you guys all for attending. I'm going to go ahead and close the session. I enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me.